Well, the air is getting colder, or as we like to call it around here, football weather. And for the first time in probably about 3 seasons, Florida State gets to take a little place in that football weather. Bowl season upon us, of course, already underway. Jeff Culhane, Ryan Kelly. Jeff, the invaluableness that you can just see immediately. This is the first bowl game Florida State's had under Mike Norvell. Those 15 extra practices for a team and a program that's continuing to build its identity and build on what it wants. Just the very fact that you've made it. Forget your opponent, forget you're playing in a nice bowl, forget you're playing in a nice TV window. Just to be still playing football and still practicing football this late in December.
Well, it's a great point, Ryan, and it's massive. It's massive to have this extra time for development, for continuing to understand the fundamentals, understand the teachings, et cetera, of this Mike Norvell-led staff. And, a lot of places, no matter, depending on where you're at, they call it winter camp, right? You have spring ball, summer camp. This is sort of winter camp right now for the Florida State football team. And, just think if, in years past, there would be nothing happening right now with this squad. And that is why bowl games are so important. And you're going to see a great football game on Thursday, December 29th against Oklahoma down in Orlando. But to your point, to have this time to get some of the younger guys out there, more opportunities for this group to gel together, climb, as Coach Norvell talks about it, play one more game, but, continue to have this time to help carry things over into 2023 as well, which so many people are excited about, is invaluable, as you said.
Talking big picture before we even get into the Sooners. You didn't get the New Year's Six game. You can blame the Clemson Tigers for that in that final week of the regular season, losing to South Carolina. But you get the ACC's best bowl outside the New Year's Six. You end up in the Cheez-It Bowl. And the fact that they wanted you, it was very, very clear they wanted you. Because when you've got the Holiday Bowl and the Gator Bowl fighting it out for who gets Notre Dame, Florida State got first pickings throughout this. The idea that this thing is, at least when we're recording this on Wednesday, it's really close to a sellout. Florida State, you're hearing stories of fans buying tickets from the Oklahoma allotment to be there. It's so clear, and, I think it's kind of fascinating. You as someone who just started your first season here, you've gotten to see just throughout this time what this fan base has started at the beginning of this year and the buy-in that's come, not just from the team, but from the team behind the team, the folks who support Florida State athletics, just how much it's changed in a 3-4 month span.
Well, it's a special place, right? And, for me, specifically, having this opportunity to be a part of this football program and be around a fan base as great as this one is a dream come true. And so you need a little kick, right? We talked about this before prior to the Florida game. No matter what would have happened in the Florida game, obviously everybody wanted to win it with how this group had finished the year. But if you had asked anyone back in June or July if this team, would have won 8 games, everybody I think would have signed up for it for the most part, right? The overwhelming majority at least. 9-3 season, wins over Miami and Florida, and winning the last 5 games of the regular season. That's the longest streak currently right now in the ACC. This is a fun place to be right now. And so is this football program where it wants to be at currently? To a certain degree, yes. But you ask any of the coaches, to a person, there's so much more out there. And that's what drives them. That's what continues to keep them striving for perfection. National championships are what Florida State football is all about. And that's what Mike Norvell is trying to reach, this coaching staff is trying to reach as well. And so what a year, what an ending, and you're seeing the fruits of the labor, the successes as well, Ryan. You're seeing that from the fan base with their excitement about getting to Orlando on Thursday the 29th and watching this team play one final time.
You said it. 8. That was the number everybody kind of had circled in their brain. It didn't matter who you talked to. It didn't matter what message board you went to. The most rational fan, the most irrational fan, outside of a couple outliers, 8 always seemed to be the number. What a great season this would be if you could get to 8. And now you've got 9 and you're staring 10 in the face. And I understand with early signing day, it maybe doesn't mean as much to go on the road and show up to a classroom in January and say, hey, we got that 10th win, because a lot of those guys that you'd be fighting for at that point, they already know where they're going. But with some of that, do you still feel like just getting to that double-digit win total again, first time since 2016, knocking off Michigan at the end of that season in the Orange Bowl, is there still just a real significance of seeing that number 10 next to your record in the win column?
There's no question about it. I think no matter how many games you play, if you're a football team that gets to double-digit wins, it's a pretty special year. No matter how you get there, no matter what bowl game you're playing in, a 10-win season means a lot. And it means a lot in telling the story of what's to come as well. And you're seeing so many of these great players and great student athletes and ambassadors for Florida State University returning because of the buy-in, Ryan, and the belief of what is going on around here right now. Prime example, and I don't know if I've seen it anywhere, what this shows you the brotherhood mentality and the respect across the board from head coach down all the way to players and to scout team guys. You're seeing transfer portal guys that are leaving Florida State still around practicing with the team currently. You don't see that anywhere else. That gives you a prime example of how special things are, how connected this group is right now, how much they enjoy playing the game together with one another. And you better believe it. Every person to a man you talk to, whether it's head coach, an analyst, grad assistant, redshirt freshman, 10 wins is a battle cry for this game and a massive deal to end the year on a positive note.
We're for that kid who just scored his first goal. We're for the new hire who's just looking to fit in. We're for that person who's impossible to shop for. We're for congratulating you on all your years of hard work. We're awards for you, and we're for helping you celebrate life's special moments.
Madison RV and Golf Resort is a camper and golfer's dream. We invite you to come stay with us, play our challenging layout, 18 tee boxes and 9 championship holes, rolling terrain, and a golf training facility. Catch and release fish, relax in our new pool or play pickleball. Madison RV and Golf Resort is the perfect location to enjoy the outdoors in a relaxing, fresh air atmosphere. Madison RV and Golf Resort, Madison, Florida, just off I-10. Reserve your spot today. MadisonRVResort.com.
And the inverse of that, Jeff, take a look-see. There's guys who still have to make decisions about their future. Jamie Robinson, Jared Verse, those are the two that immediately come to mind about who might be going, who might be leaving for Florida State. There's been so much talk for the better part of a decade now, ever since Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette sat out of their bowl games, in 2016, about, what do bowl games mean? Do you even stay in a New Year's Six game? Some folks would even argue about playoff. There's so much debate about this time of the year, and there seems to be absolutely zero on Florida State's locker room. This is a team that's locked in and wants to beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost become I don't want to say almost, it has sadly become the abnormal to stick around and play in these bowl games. You see at different schools stars that make the decision that they're going to stick around, and you get the questions, why are you playing? That's crazy to ask to me. What do you mean, why are you playing? You're a part of the team. It's your bowl game. It's the biggest game of the season. It's the last game of the season. It's the last chapter to write in the story of a football team's, season and year. And so I think, to your point, Ryan, with Florida State, you're seeing everyone come together, and no matter what their futures are, whether it's making a decision on the National Football League, playing in the Senior Bowl, an accepted invite already, or deciding you're leaving the program and going somewhere else next year, all these guys want to play one final time together and send this group out on a special note. This is going to be a team that is remembered for a long, long time, I feel like. The team that helped this program turn the corner back, climb back to what Florida State football is capable of.
One final question, a little off topic before we get into the meat and potatoes of the Sooners, but we are recording this on early signing day, so I'd feel remiss if we didn't say one thing about Tribe 23. Of course, looks like Florida State is circling in on a top 15, top 20 class, depending on the service you take a look at, but the transfer portal has, of course, become such a big, big deal, not just throughout Florida or throughout college athletics, but Florida State has had such success over these last couple seasons at finding diamonds in the rough, finding the Jared Verses, finding the Jermaine Johnsons, turning those guys into stars. They're the first two that immediately come to mind, but of course, there's plenty of other examples. There's Keir Thomas, there's Tatum Bethune, and that's just the defensive side of the ball. You're starting to see now, with this buy-in, with this 9 wins, chance for 10 wins, with the product you put on the field, offense and defense, both sides of the ball, Florida State was already doing well in the portal, and now the doors just seem like they're flung wide open.
Well, you have success stories to tell, Ryan, right? And I think also have to credit Florida State's creative team and sports information staff for the production of these second home, welcome home, documentary-esque storylines from the transfers and from guys like Johnny Wilson and Tatum Bethune and Greedy Vance as well. All guys who began their careers elsewhere but found their second homes and final homes here at Florida State University. And so it's a part of the new world in college football. Everyone is going to be struck by it. The line is, the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. The portal has giveth to Florida State, as you mentioned, very, very well in a palpable sense over the last couple of seasons. And I think what FSU has done so well, Ryan, is they've reloaded their offensive line, which has a huge upside now with guys that have played at Colorado, UTEP, Auburn, right? Getting great players, skilled players. The young man from South Carolina who has played in big games in the SEC that is going to return and come back essentially to Florida State. And so it's a roster management is an interesting follow right now in this era. And so how can you fix some things quickly? Where do you see talented pieces in the high school ranks that you're looking to develop and have be a part of your program long term? This staff has a really strong beat on it, it feels like right now, with how they're doing it.